Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Looking forward here to the weekend. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Napa, Idaho, and it feels really good, The sun's coming out, a lot of the states are opening up so you can go out more. That's always great. And even if you were in a stay at home, I know that they all encourage you to get out and enjoy the weather, and it is definitely that kind of weather today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is TJ, and I am the Chief Cleaning Officer here at Meticulous Man Services. And I try to do these Facebook Lives here so that we can, I want to make sure that I'm offering you guys some great, what's that word? Content. There we go. I want to make sure we're offering things that are entertaining, educational, and informative. So with that said, this whole past couple of months has been so filled with the virus that shall not be named, but we are going to go ahead and try to focus on some other things. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, or the thing I wanted to talk about to you today, is how to build a home that's easier to clean. And this can be for if you're starting out and you're building your first home, or if you are trying to do a remodel this summer, the spring-summer area, and you're kind of looking at some ideas. Kind of give you a little bit of background. Before I was doing this in my other life, I actually used to work as a drafting person for both a structural engineering company and a residential design company. So I got to see how homes are put together and what goes into constructing them and the hows and the whys of that. Now that we're running a house cleaning service business, I'm starting to see things in a whole new light. One of the things that really became very popular, I'd say probably about the early 2000s, was the idea of building energy efficient homes. And if you look that up, it's LEED, L-E-E-D. I cannot remember off the top of my head what that means, but basically it's the idea of a certification that allows your home to be considered energy efficient. As a cleaning business owner, I really wish that there was some kind of certification that you could get that your home is easy to clean. Because let's face it, sometimes the way builders do stuff, I have no idea what they were doing. My old boss at my residential design company that I used to work for, my boss would have yelled at me and said things that I'm not going to say here. But basically, he would have been looking at some of these designs and gone, "Are you stupid? Really?" And so I kind of have a really good background in this stuff about what works and what doesn't, just kind of keep an eye on things. So let's go and I think about the idea of a house, building a house. One moment. Dry throat. Anyway, building a home that is easier to clean. Kind of a really good idea to think about is the flatter the surfaces you can have throughout your home, the easier it's going to be to take care of. So sometimes people like to put this wainscoting around their home, and they have like this really great strip, and they've got the paneling there, and it's got little grooves in it, and it goes throughout the whole house, and it looks pretty, but it can be a pain to clean, to dust, especially if you've got kids or animals that like to get stuff all over things. And then they've got those multi-layered levels of the top of the wainscot, or you're looking at your baseboards and they've got all these fancy curves and stuff. The more ledges you have on a surface, the more difficult it is to clean eventually. Another thing is anytime you can make sure that when you're putting a door in a corner, so you get your corner here like that, it's kind of hard to see here, but sometimes they'll try to put it up there as close as possible. The problem is you get that little tiny space right there where your baseboard is, and gunk just seems to build up in that area, and it's a pain even to get a dang toothbrush in there. It's a pain to get in to try to clean that out. So the farther you get, if you can get them to where the door is at least a good 6-inch gap once they get the trim on there between the corner of the wall and the actual trim, you've got a lot better space to get in there and clean. And that's what you want to make sure of, is that's good. Anytime you can, make sure that you've got smooth baseboards and stuff. I mean, all these really fancy decorative ones. Not saying that those things are bad, but if you're looking for a home that's easier to clean, like I said, the flatter the surface, the easier it is. Another area that I've seen is in kitchens. Now, this is going to depend on your preference and what how you cook. But if you cook with a lot of oily, greasy-based foods, the problem when you get those paneled style doors is that the grease gets up there, and then they have a varnish on those. And the problem is once that grease and that heat and everything, that varnish mix, it becomes very, very difficult if you're not constantly cleaning those off. And I mean, like, pretty much every time after you cook food, you need to wipe down the cabinetry around your oven, your stovetop. And that builds up and it kind of creates this gunk, and it melds with the varnish. And so when you try to pull it off, you have to put enough pressure there that you start pulling the varnish off along with the grease and oil. And so you're left with this yucky looking cabinet. So if you can get cabinets that are, again, flat surface style, ones that are easy just to quickly wipe down, that'll be your best bet. But again, it may be different if you're somebody who doesn't seem to, don't cook a lot at home, or you don't cook that kind of food. That may not pertain to you. Another area I've seen is in the bathrooms, and this drives me nuts. So you've got and it's kind of hard to show here right now, but I wish I had a picture. But you got your vanity there, and then you've got your sink and everything, and then you've got your tub off to the side, and there's usually like that kind of space. And I understand because they've just simply put the measurement of the counter there, and it's only so long, and I get all the measurements. Remember, I used to do this stuff and measure these things out. But the problem is when you have that small little gap, it's a pain to get your arm back there to clean. You can't really get a mop back there because it's usually about maybe, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 inches or so, 5 if you're lucky. But even some of the flat mops we use, those things, we can't even get them. I'm looking up at them, sorry. But you can't even get them in that space very well. And so needless to say, it's really difficult to maintain the cleanliness of that. So a great way to build a home that's easier to clean that situation is just have the builder build that out. You can put up a small wall and block that out so that it comes directly with the flush up against the cabinetry there for your sinks. And then you can wipe it off. There's nowhere that stuff's going to get locked in. So, and then what is the other thing? Oh yeah, plant shelves. I don't like plant shelves. They're great for displaying, okay? They really are. But the truth is, we tend to put things up on those things, and they're decorative, and we never touch them. But we start to notice after a while they're getting really dusty, and I don't want to climb up there, and I don't want to see what's up there. So they become a real great place to collect dust and grime and dead bugs from the spiders that come in and eat them. It's just a really bad place to be. And then the other thing is that I've really noticed is that when you do get up there, if you ever do, which is like once in a blue moon, is that the builders, most of them don't finish that area up. So when they're spray painting the house and taking care of all that part there gets a really rough coating and it's not smoothed out. And so when you try to get up there with a cloth to clean, it just shreds that son of a gun to like nothing. It is so hard to clean that once it gets really bad. So my recommendation is, one, don't have plant shelves if you can avoid it. Don't put any kind of shelving in your home that's up high that you can't reach. And secondly, if you choose to go ahead and do plant shelves or higher shelves in your home, get a painter or somebody that is going to actually put a finishing coat on that. And 1 second. What happened when you talk a lot? But make sure you get somebody who finishes that and they smooth it out and make it just as smooth as your walls, so that when you do go up there to clean, it's a great surface to do it at. So that's another one. In your kitchen, again, making sure that your cabinetry goes up to the ceiling if possible, unless you've got really super high ones. But the problem is when you have your normal size, like maybe 10 foot, 8 foot high ceilings, that you put those little shelves again, and it collects a lot of dust, and you get that nice little crown kind of like molding that goes over the top that hides stuff, and you can put things up there. But again, that's another huge place that dust and grease and everything else likes to collect. So if you can make it where you're not having to deal with that, it'll make your life so much better. Another thing is when you're looking at flooring, especially hard flooring, this is something I've noticed a lot, is that the darker the floor, the more likely it is you're going to see spots and footprints and everything else. So even if you clean it, thoroughly and it looks great, the minute you step on that, you're going to see, especially as the sun keeps coming out more in the summer, it'll just shine across that and you'll see all the impurities, the the footprints again, it's a pain. But if you have a lighter color floor, it doesn't show it as much. So that's kind of a little bit of a trick. I also encourage people to stay away from those pre-manufactured flooring that has that really high gloss finish, because it can be a big, huge pain to clean. We've done this. We've got a couple homes that have this pergo flooring in it, and it's got a really great gloss. The problem is, no matter how damp our mop is or how light, on the water, we make sure it's wrung out super, super good. We still struggle with a little bit of streaking, and it takes a long time to get that to buff out, because just even a little bit of water and it starts to look like it's a streaky thing. You use a lot of water, and again, you have the problem as it dries. So stay away from those really high gloss floorings. The other thing I would talk about is your walls. Now, I've seen a lot of homes where they have a matte style finish to their walls, and that can be great, but depending on your situation, if you, again, have pets, you have, I want to call my kids pets. Sometimes they act like it, If anybody's got kids, you know exactly what the heck I'm talking about. But if they start getting their hands on there, the problem with the matte finish is that when you go to clean it, you can start to remove the paint because there's no coating over the top of that to protect it. So one, as much as possible, work on getting paint that's washable, easily washable. High gloss finish, or at least, I can't remember what they call it right now off the top of my head, but there's a coating you can put that protects the paint, so it's not that flat paint. And anything that's easy to wipe off, that's really what you're looking for when you're looking for your paints, especially in your main areas, bedrooms, living room, hallways, all those kind of areas. You want to make sure that you have some paint that's easy to clean off. So those are kind of my ideas. And if you have any others, I'd love to hear from you. I want to go ahead and real quick see if I can pull this up on Facebook here and see if anybody's commenting live, because unfortunately this thing here does not always do that. Oh, no, mute.
Looking for your paint, especially.
Yeah, let's not do that. No. We're going to mute that. There. Don't need to hear myself talking. But yeah, so it looks like nobody's commented at this point. But even if you don't watch this live and you're not watching it live, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments. What is something you think would make creating your home so that it's easier to clean and maintain? What would help you out? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments. Put them below for us. Share your experiences. What has been the hardest thing you've had in your home to clean that's drove you nuts? And just kind of share that. We can always benefit from everybody else's knowledge. I'm definitely not the smartest person in this room, which is kind of funny I said that now that I think about it, because I really am the only person in this room right now. But you get the point. So, again, I hope this has been informative to you, a little bit entertaining as you watch my little antics and the way I do things. But until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you are looking for a house cleaning service in the Napa, Idaho, Treasure Valley area, we'd love to talk to you. You can go ahead and I'll put a link in the comments or the section here below, and that way you can reach out to us. But if you've got anything else that you'd love to hear me talk about, if you've got some ideas for another show, please go ahead and send that our way. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you here again.